And on their name, put some respect. Yeah, yeah. I think it's time for reality check. Yeah, reality check. Gotta get you back on cold. Reality check. For the young and the old. Reality check. Yeah, heal the heal your soul. Reality check. Get ready for the show.
What up, though? What up, though? Up, though? How you doing, Eve?
What's going on, Dr. Winters? What's going on, Spirit Wonder? Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday, but it's cold in them Dar Hills.
It's cold where you are?
Yes. It's, they trying to make wintertime. We had such a beautiful year. How you doing, Spirit Wonder? We've had such a beautiful winter so far. It hasn't been cold except for today. It was cold a little bit last week, but it's been a pretty good winter. I think it's because the fact is that Chicago didn't really turn out for the Democrats, so I think that's why the weather's so good.
I can dig it. It actually here it's crazy you say it's cold there. It's been randomly hot. Like today it was 70 maybe, and then it was a flash tornado warning, I guess, because of how hot it got, how hot, and I don't know, I'm not a weather person, maybe how fast it got hot even though it was cold, something like that. But the winds, you can see it. And last night it looked like we drove through two little mini spirally things, but that was probably just my imagination. I don't know.
Well, in the Midwest, when you be driving around in the spring and the summer, you can see a lot of them forming. Going if you drive in Indiana, Illinois, when you go out in the countryside, you can see them forming. Sometimes they just don't get that big, but so
yeah,
we're kind of used to it out here, because now we're living in a fantasy. It's really weird. We're living in a fantasy. You think things are real. But I am really beginning to believe that maybe we are in a matrix. I don't know. I'm really wondering: is that do we just make that up, or is it really true? Is this really? Are we really in somebody's mind, somebody's consciousness? Somebody decide, well, I want Eve, and then I want old nigga, old nigga Clyde, Uncle Clyde. Put him in there, and So I mean, hey. I don't know. I
think it's interesting for sure, just how random things are not supposed to be coincidences. Like all of the connections, it's patterns, and then, well, these things couldn't possibly be connected. And then if you just dig deep enough, or if you research long enough, you find that there's a connection. They just might not have wanted you to know about it.
Right. It's just like when you start doing genealogy, there's about every FBA, somebody, if you dig deep enough, somebody came from North Carolina. What? Everybody related to somebody from North Carolina.
Yeah, that's good. I always thought that was pretty interesting, how close our records can be, whether it's North Carolina or Virginia, because the lines for those states, for my state in North Carolina, they've been blurred and moved, and so things that used to be aren't, and it's a lot of us, and it's so many of us that how could we have possibly believed that we were 14% of the population for any chunk of time?
Well, I know that that's not true. I mean, I think people have a right to believe whatever they wish, but I know that's a big lie. We've always been the majority in this country, because see, remember, in a sense, is that America is made up of populations. America's made up of populations.
Right.
You got Europeans here. And then they divide themselves into English, Eastern European, Jewish, Latin, and then Italian, and then you got the Aboriginal people and stuff. Then you got your Latinos, but oh no, I'm no Mexican. I'm no Mexican. I'm no black. I'm no black. you know. So then you got your Mexicans, you got your Venezuelans, you got your Dominican. I'm no black. I'm no black. If I'm Dominican, I'm no black. But
darker than me, but black. Okay. Hey, we finally accepted that as a collective, and then everybody started crying foul. And it's so strange that it's the connections for me. Today at school, the older students were talking about turn the other cheek. And I was like, oh, okay, this is going to be an interesting conversation to just kind of ear hustle. And they learned that it was the culture and customs. It wasn't like you should turn the other cheek and get smacked as much as the person smacking you has to make an acknowledgement. And then from the acknowledgement, okay, if they're going to smack you, well, then there's some consequences because you've acknowledged that this is what you're going to do based off of what I'm doing. And I said, whoa, that's pretty deep. Because, I mean, when we hear turn the other cheek, it's, well, they did you wrong. And, well, it's okay. You got a whole nother cheek. It's okay that they turn the other cheek. Yeah. That's so empty.
See, my father taught me that always hold your dukes. Don't put them in front of your face, close. And then when somebody trying to hit you, you turn the other cheek, and then you come back with that left or that right. So my father always taught me, you turn that cheek, get that cheek out the way, but then you come back with that, bam, 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 bam.
I like that. That's even better. I mean,
But there's something wrong in that. Whenever, what's wrong with Eve is whenever I talk to my my diasporic brothers and sisters, they say all you FBA think about is fighting. No, it's not that we think about fighting, but our moms and our dads told us, don't let nobody, a bully will never stop bullying your ass. What? Wait, what? A bully will never stop bullying you. And so then, because you've been taught that, then even though you don't want to fight, my daughter, she didn't like to fight. But then one day she didn't fight, and my son told me, said, Lonnie, take her ass up there. And KK, if you don't fight, I'm whipping your ass. And her mama said, I'm going to whip your ass too. And she said, man, not you, mommy. Yes, I'm going to whip your ass too. And so the night she had to fight. Well, now she's a police officer. Hopefully she doesn't have to fight that much. But the thing is this, though, is that we're always taught that we had to defend ourselves. We had to fight. And this is kind of, in a sense, I think it goes with that double consciousness, like Sandra Hinn, I'm working with her on her dissertation. And so she's doing this double consciousness stuff. And I told you last night when we were talking, this whole idea of disassociation. I didn't like that. I did not like her saying that whenever I'm trying to talk proper to white folks and then trying to make the intonation clear and make it so that they can understand me, that I'm really going through a process of disassociation. And that I'm really, in a sense, that may be a response to a traumatic experience. I just thought I was trying to jab white folks, or I just thought I was trying to make sure that they understood what I was telling them. Mm-hmm. You see, but no, she made me understand. No, that's disassociation, and in a way, it's like an out of body experience because you are pretending to be someone else, and not your authentic self, whatever that is.
Interesting. Yeah. I definitely think it's an interesting concept. I would even agree with the understanding that it's disassociation, but I guess maybe I have the opposite problem. When I try to talk slang or talk that jazz and all that everybody's all like, that's not how you talk. Why are you talking? you don't curse. Why do you sound like that when you say those words? And it's like, well, damn, I really just thought I was trying to be, everybody understands what I'm saying, or at least, you don't have to grab a dictionary to get to the meaning. And not that I'm out here using all these big words either, but I do know that there's a time and a place for certain vocabulary use. And maybe that's the disassociation. So where I might not say ass at school or in a professional place, you might say bottom, but I don't know, your rear end, I don't know, but you're not going to just say or refer to someone's ass unless you want to get HR involved, right?
I had an assistant principal. She was very unprofessional. All she used to talk about was before and oral sex, but she would call it, use that F word and stuff, Filato or whatever. Uh-huh. And, and so it was very proper. But I felt that was very inappropriate because I felt that I'm a man. If I was to talk about that, they'll be saying that I'm harassing them with it, mm-hmm. that I'm being sexual. But she could get away with it, And I wonder where she is now. But again, that was back in the day, because that was back when I was teaching at private schools, and I was the rapping teacher.
The rapping teacher.
Yes, oh yes. I was the rapping teacher.
Tell me more about this rapping teacher. You were spitting bars, or was it just?
Yes. That's what I would do. Is that when I would do my when I would teach, I used to make it. I used to try to make it in a sense. I make it rhyme, because hey, I was the rapping teacher, so I'd be rapping, and it was kind of interesting. The kids liked it, and the kids, they
excellent segue. Thank you. I knew this conversation was going to be so perfect for you and me to have. As educators, you have to present the information in a way where the people listening to you give a damn or give a fuck. Most of the time they don't, because, well, do y'all talk to your minis? Because I think if you talk to your minis, you'd find that most of the stuff is very boring to them, but there is something there that they really like. And it's going to be something that you never expected because, well, school wasn't cool for you. But these children, especially if they're in an environment that fosters thinking, especially creative thinking, being creative, or doing things outside of the box, not just sticking to the core concepts, you'll find that you've got little math wizards out here, science geniuses, and them other people, they know that. But then they'll act surprised when little Johnny builds a pipe bomb in the basement, with all of these different Amazon packages that were arriving. And it's like, well, I didn't know he was going to build a bomb. I mean, I knew that he liked chemistry. And we got him those sets a little while ago, and it didn't seem like he was into it. He didn't blow anything up yet. But, they very creative. And destructive when left to their own devices.
But you got to remember, back in the 80s, they said that one way to pacify the average white male back in the day was to allow him to light fires. This is what they taught us in this is what they taught us in Ed Psych, is that is that let them light fires and stuff. And then in a sense, by them being able to light these fires, that would, I guess, steal some of their consciousness. Maybe you new teachers, that's why these white boys, instead of lighting fires, they come to schools now and they want to shoot up their fellow students. Maybe because your new generation of teachers, y'all don't understand and let the white boys have a fire around the school. Let them have a little, let them burn a little something.
Let them burn some shit. Get it out.
Yeah, let them get it out. And I mean, who knows? We can maybe do this thing because, see, we do not we do not want to understand is that I remember when we were doing Ed Psych back in the 80s, you accepted the fact that Latino, um, FBA, poor whites, middle class whites, they all learn differently. They all learn differently. I found that I was a more effective. See, I wanted to be an effective and efficient teacher. I found that I could be an effective and efficient teacher by teaching my students English as a second language, teaching them English if they didn't know it, because Black children do not know standard English, and we assume when we're teaching them we assume that they already understand standard English, and that's why they don't know how to write and they don't know how to perform well. But when you teach them as if they don't know English, then in a sense, instead of taking for granted that they do know standard English, then therefore, in a sense, you'll be more effective and efficient. See, I saw as a teacher, I saw my role as a teacher to be effective and efficient. Those two words, even if you go back to when I was in my well, not in my 20s, but by my 30s, I felt that was the key. That was the key to being a good teacher, was to be effective and efficient. And the more you could teach them, the easiest way to teach things, then you were successful. Just like you, what make you very interesting to me, Eve, is that you're an artist. But although you're an artist, you like math, and math is left brain. So I find that very, very, very interesting that here we have an artist, surely very, very evident that you're creative, and yet at the same time you like that structure that comes from math. How do you reconcile
that? Is strange, right?
Yeah, how do you reconcile that?
I would say neurodivergence. If you were going to use like a white splain side of things, and then speaking on this, I find that there is a group of niggas in the closet maybe who are listening to our conversations that we're having or our wants, or just whoever's listening to us on these devices, right? And then they're giving us the ads based off of what we're talking about. So then maybe you just had one thought about this one thing, but then the next 20 ads or videos are specific to this thing. And when you say that, I like the math and I like the art, I just saw a video that talked about this chick she's neurodivergent. And really, y'all, that's just a really big word that means that she or people believe that their brains work differently than other people. In my unprofessional opinion, I know that there's an actual definition for it. And because I do like those things, we could just look it up. But from all of what I've seen and heard, it just seems like people want a word that makes them special for how they think about things, or a scapegoat for how they think about things. And then what's real, what's not real, I don't know. Do all of us have the same ability to use our brains the same way? You say we don't, because men are cereal. Right.
Step 1, 2, 3, 4. Women 1, 2, 3.
Right. 1, 6. A 7, B 3.
I know you don't notice it as a woman. You wouldn't notice it, but when I used to I used to really be in the brain-based learning back in the day, and so because of the fact that I was in the brain-based learning, a lot of times I used to really try to observe my students, and I try to look at how they used it. And so early in my observations, I noticed in the sense that girls always use both sides of their brain. They can use them both, whereas boys, in a sense, sometimes in a sense, we can fake it. And when we become proficient in the field, then therefore, in a sense, we can show out. But For sure. But usually, in a sense, that girl is going to be more flexible, because the fact is that she can access both the creative side and what they call in the Europeans call, in a sense, the analytical or the mathematics side. Left mathematical and analytical. right brain. But see, most black people, we come from the right brain anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Even though a lot of people don't even understand this, it's that creativity. But our women, in a sense, I don't know too much about white women. I haven't observed them too much. But our women, in a sense, you guys have that facility or that ability to be able to move. See, you think much faster. You think much faster than the average male. I'm not trying to say that in a sense to say it's a it's superiority. What I'm just saying in a sense is that your ability to interpret, your ability to understand, maybe a little bit, you know, faster than the average brother might understand something.
I would think that that's a societal understanding. Maybe this is an unlearn, relearn moment because I think that when because I too observe my students and I've had all sorts of students at this point. And I know you've had more students than me, so I'm not doing that. I'm just saying that what I've observed is when given the opportunity to be creative, boys are not as comfortable with it because they're not given the freedom to be creative. And maybe it's because it's noise level or mess level. And I guess that's also a type of noise, mess is noise. But anyway, girls are cleaner, less messy. And these are just stereotypes because really they're as messy as boys if they haven't been taught to clean up after themselves. But girls get a break in this regard or with this regard because they get playtime with dolls and imagination types of you have to make a story for you to play with this versus a boy gets a car, vroom vroom, the car. Maybe he's creative enough to give it some sustenance, but for the most part, boy toys are very basic and serial. You got a car, maybe you got a little man, maybe you've got blocks, which again, what is that? 1, 2, 3. You put this here, here, here. Girls get the ability to draw and color and do all sorts of very creative things from a very early age. And then I think that
but it's not. I don't think it's because of the teachers. They're more interested in it. I mean, just like I live in Chicago, and so ABC News, they usually they try to recognize and a young student, and just about what 95% of the artwork they show is always done by girls.
But that's what I'm saying. And not that it's the teacher. It has nothing to do with the teacher. I'm talking about society as a whole has put children in these boxes when children should be allowed to be creative. This is when you have imaginary friends and you are making up words and you are having secret languages, or you're supposed to be able to be creative. And maybe some children don't get that opportunity because they've been inundated with the programming. They don't get a chance to make up a fairy tale because it's TV, tablet, music, whatever, all the time. They don't have their own thoughts, right?
You could be right, but I think the whole education system. When I took ed psych, when I took ed psych in 1971, 72, when I was to become a teacher, they made it clear that most men, in a sense, really didn't have full tactile control until they were 21.
Right.
Okay, and so then therefore, that's why in a sense, that's one of the reasons why a lot of times they kept, that's why boys, in a sense, I was going to see I was 19 going to see, seeing the kid doctor, whereas my wife at 18,
right,
she was going to the adult, doctors, right, in the hospitals, because that's the way it was. Because but then in a sense, I remember when I took my first ed psych class, that's what they talked about, is that boys develop slower, boys, in a sense, this and that, and I think that made it so that teachers didn't put as much pressure on boys back in the day to know. But now because of the fact that we teach the way girls learn, a lot of times we lose our male students. That's why a lot of times by third or fourth grade, we had lost a lot of kids, and those kids are on their way to jail because they don't really fit in because they're moving so fast because they're not given an opportunity or a chance to be able to really grow and develop. Because
I'm with you. I'm with you 100. This is my research. I haven't figured out how to word it just yet, but this is definitely what I was talking to you about yesterday because I think the whole system is flawed. And I know that people shouldn't say that about systems because systems work, but I believe that they've actually admitted to its flaw, and that's why you've got all this gay stuff going on, trying to change things without actually changing has changed things.
The gay stuff is going on because that goes back to Neely Fuller and the objective of white people. And also Francis Welsing. The objective of white people is to make us homosexual so that we won't reproduce. We won't have children because if you're homosexual, you're not going to produce any babies because you're going to be in a sense, your partner is going to be of the same sex. So then there's not going to be any reproduction. And so that's one of the reasons why they try to promote that. Like on ABC, I always bring up ABC. That's my news. I'm sorry, I should have got CBS and NBC, but that's the news station. And every time they have a black person on there that's a writer, that's doing anything, it never fails that 90% of them, before it's all over, they're gonna be mentioning something about homosexuality.
Yeah,
and
that's
it's
for
sad,
sure. I have a thought on that, but real quick, this is something that I thought about to talk with you about. This is called White Teacher in a Black School versus Black Teacher in a White School.
A class of 8th graders I was subbing for, I said the word mysterious 2 separate times within a class period. And this girl went, "Ho, is you Sherlock Holmes? Why is everything mysterious to you?"
Like Velma. Smell a mystery.
Jinkies.
I was subbing a class and I told them that I grew up in Inglewood. And they're like, "Isn't that the hood?" And I was like, "Yeah." And they're like, "Why didn't you just move?" I don't have generational wealth.
Hey, just use your trust fund and get out of there.
You have get out of the hood money? Let me get some of that.
Okay, I need your help with this one because I can't say one of the words.
Okay.
I showed up to a school and a kid said, "We don't get too many white
niggas
around here. What'd you do wrong?" It's like, I just chose to sub at this school today.
He made some wrong decisions, bro.
Oh, okay.
One time I was in class and one of the white students told me, "Hey, did you know I'm actually half Mexican?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, that's cool." He was like, "Yeah, so I'm light skinned just like you."
She's like, "So I can say the same words you can say, right?" I had a girl once ask me, "Are you like all the way white?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she said, "Then why are your lips like that?"
Why are they like that? When my hair was really long and curly, one of the kids came up behind me while I was sitting down and ran their fingers through my hair. And then they just looked at their hand and they went, "Whoa." I don't know if that was a good thing or a bad thing.
Why do white kids want to touch black people's hair so much?
I do not get it.
A class of 8th graders.
So this is they do this, or not they do this. I think he's a part-time stand-up comedian, maybe, the white guy. And then I think he is also an educator, which I think is great because it shows me and you guys that I think it's possible to have educators who are paying attention non-maliciously as possible.
You know, he's so lucky, boy. When I started teaching in 1971, you know, when I would have to go to the Southwest side, those kids, they'd say nigga, 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 nigga. That's what these white kids say, you nigga. And then you're trying, and so one day I did something, I'm not going to tell you what I did, but I took the kid out in the hall and I was talking to him, you know, and I kept my hands up so everybody could see my hands, but I was kicking them with all type of shit, because but I wanted the kids to see my hands up so she couldn't say I kicked her or whatever. And so then, and these kids, the word nigger would come out of their mouth, and I mean, yeah, it's okay when I say it, and but I didn't like them being able to say that. But that's the way it was in Chicago, because Chicago was a city of communities. And so then when I had to go substitute on the white at white schools, I really didn't like it. I really didn't appreciate it, because the thing is that they were just so, when you had to go on the southwest side, the side of town where Martin Luther King went when he came, if you went on the southwest side, you ran into some stuff. Back then, between 1973 and about 85, you could not go down 79th Street to it was a place called Forest City. That was the first mall where a lot of black people used to go. You could not go down 79th Street because those white folks, they would attack your car.
Mm.
Oh yeah. Oh, Chicago. That's the beauty of Chicago. You definitely were black.
That people that say that racism was so long ago, they need to see that the animation of the race. You know what I'm talking about? I think Tariq used it in one of the Hidden Colors, where it's like a track. You got a white man, white woman, and a black man and a black woman, and the gun goes off, but then an obstacle is in our way, but they get to run around the track. And then they're running around the track and building up all this generational wealth. And then you're watching the years go by. So it's like all these hundreds, not all these hundreds of years, but you get to kind of see where it supposedly stopped and where we are today, and how much time has elapsed for people to be so high and mighty, or, feeling like they have a leg to stand on, when really you don't have any leg to stand on. You just have that much of a head start. And then when we start to equalize the playing field, you get white teachers teaching at black schools, and those students have no filter. And then you've got the black teacher at the white school, and they're trying to be understanding, maybe.
But I found that when I was teaching, I found that a lot of times the kids, the white teachers had better discipline than the black black teachers, and a lot of times the kids maybe because it's just Chicago, maybe they just felt that white is right. So, but they would in a sense moderate their behavior more for the white teachers and the black teachers and stuff like that. Crazy Farr said they were niggering up in my school too, but not any white kids. This was the east side of Harlem and black as hell. If a white kid said the N-word, they would have buried him beneath the school. Well, that's the thing about Chicago create so far, is that Chicago is a city of communities. Back then it was only white and black people in the city. We had a few Puerto Ricans. There's a few Puerto Ricans living in our neighborhoods, But then, it wasn't until what the 80s, that you started seeing a lot of Latinos, and and back in the 80s, it was a lot of. See, they don't talk about all the shooting in the Latino community, because back in the day, it was a different Latino gang on every block.
Mm.
Every block. Can you imagine?
Listen,
every block was
13,
different.
You got like different gangs.
Yeah, well, they belong to different gangs on every block. Some of them was folks, other ones was peoples. Like the Latin Kings. Then a lot of them wanted to be disciples, Four Corner Hustlers, all that type of mess. So you had to really. I don't see how those Latino kids could navigate back in the 80s, because there was so much gang banging. Now in a sense they got so many immigrants. There's such a mixture. Even out here where I live in the suburbs, I see a lot of Latinos coming into the gas stations and coming into Walmart. Got those real nice cards, and got $20,000 on their cards for for groceries and shit at Walmart. But again, hey, that hopefully that's going to end. Now that Trump is in office. But it's very interesting that how can black people help but be saltines? Yes, we're saltines. We're salty. A lot of times in a sense you don't like being salty, but we are salty. And the reason we're salty is that is because the fact is that we feel that we're not being treated fair. And see, what is salt? Saltine is when you feel in a sense a little angry. You feel that you're being slighted. And that's what we are. We do feel slighted. We do feel in a sense that people ignore us. And sometimes we even ignore each other.
That is that is such a crazy coincidence, because earlier before our show, we were talking about how black people are the first white people. And then not just that we kind of know that from the fact that it was only black people and then now there's white people. So unless they just magically got here on a spaceship or crawled out of the earth, they had to have come from people who were already here. Mm-hmm. So we weren't even really talking about that. Just talking about the Oliver Cromwell thing that we keep seeing, and nobody's giving any credit to it because they don't know that Oliver Cromwell was black. And then from there, you've got a lot of stereotypes that other groups should get that we get. For instance, this black on black crime thing. I don't know that we have a black on black crime problem as much as we've got different groups of melanated people mushed all together. No. And then crime happens where you live, right? No? Why not?
No.
Why not?
Because we are a tribal people. In Africa, Igbo, let's take Nigeria, Igbo, Hausa, Igbo, Fulani, Oyo, about 30 different tribes there, right?
Right.
So is it any wonder that our children, they form into gangs and they have their own little tribe? You see,
I would still say that is an insertion of the foreign blacks on this land.
No.
The native blacks
because remember, I'm sorry to cut you off, Eve, but remember,
go ahead.
It was hundreds of black tribes when the white man came, and you could and each one of them had their own nation, and I'll be damned if you try to say I'm not a Creek. You see, go to Nigeria. Mm-hmm. You can look at the Igbo tribe. One Igbo got two lines coming down going vertical. Another one got two going horizontal. Then one got one going horizontal and another one with it vertical. And because we are a people who it's almost like a Star Trek. It's a Star Trek. I love Star Trek. And in Star Trek, these two individuals are fighting each other. And one got black on the right side, another one got white on the left side. And they're fighting each other, but they're supposed to be the same.
Right.
But they're fighting each other, and they're causing. And every time they show up, they would make the this is an old Star Trek. They would make the time change, and it would be disorder. And that's what we are in a sense, is that we love this whole idea of tribalism. And then you'll say, no, that's just for gangbanging. But what about the churches? It's not so bad now.
I would agree that tribalism is a social thing, because you're gonna want to be around people who are like you. And then if you got the gang of left-handed people up against the gang of right-handed people, and you find out, well, it's not as many of y'all as it is of them, do you start making people right left-handed? I guess if you have power, you can make people right left-handed. But to me, the violence and the bloodshed, I don't know that we have a culture that is beheading people and then walking around the streets with the head because that's part of the ritual. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that, as much as if that's what people are doing, and then they come here and then try to enact the law or justice the way that they did it there, maybe it looks a little bit different.
But it's terrible. You know, I know kids, and I would have a kid in third, fourth, fifth grade.
Mm-hmm.
They'll be cool with each other, but by seventh grade, one might join Disciples, another one in a sense might join the Blackstone Rangers, then one might join, you know, the Maniac Disciples, and then another one might join the black Disciples, and another one might join the Motown Disciples. Mm-hmm. These are three different disciple groups, so they always claim they're as disciples, you see. Mm-hmm. And so then these same kids, I couldn't understand how these same kids who was playing with each other used to eat over each other's house and then be ready to kill each other by eighth grade. Be ready to kill each other. Because
what is that? There is an experiment about rats being pushed and forced into and I'm not saying that we're rats. I'm just saying that the overpopulation aspect and then resources deprivation, wouldn't that cause?
But it's not a resource. Not a resource deprivation. They had people taking care of them. They just wanted to belong to a different group, and then they're ready. And then, in a sense, they wanted to belong. And it was that tribalism. And then when you think about, you know, I'm one of the first people, and I'll admit I'm one of the first people in this country to really look at Aboriginal Black history from the perspective of Aboriginals. In the past, they made it look like, you know, people came over here as African slaves, and then these African slaves were adopted by some Indian group. But I started doing the research that started saying no, it was already Aboriginal Black tribes, Aboriginal Black groups. And the thing is, this is the crazy mess is that it is weird. It is weird. Do you know that Aboriginal Black people got along till the first white people set up Jamestown?
I can imagine, but that negates what you just said, which is that we are different tribal communities existing in the same spots and fighting essentially.
But we did have different tribal names. We did, in a sense, you know, I'd get my wife and then I get 5 friends and I say, okay, we're going to start another tribe.
Right.
Then we started another village. Right. But we didn't fight each other until the white man came, and he used to, in a sense, encourage us to be jealous of each other.
Yeah.
He used to encourage us, in a sense, you know, and, you know, he used to be able, in a sense, you know, it was like that, you know, every relationship, there's a third party. It's always that third individual is that person that gets in between, you know, the two people. Let me make it like this.
Right.
There you are. There's two people.
Right.
And they're cool. And then all of a sudden the third individual gets between them. It can be a kid, a child, anything. And then they start to get the ear of that person. Then before you know it, they become separated because of the sense of that third party. Right. And so then when I look at the history of Aboriginal Black people, it seems as though they lived relatively harmonious, you know. Yeah,
so you know what I was saying. I believe, and this is without any research, this is just how I feel. So, you know, you're correcting what I feel and maybe reiterating how I feel. But I don't believe that the Blacks who are native to this land have a violent or brutal relationship with each other, as much as maybe you got some consequences for what you were doing, and maybe we just kind of did our own thing as long as you didn't impede on what it is that I'm doing. And or maybe I decide that I'm stronger than you and I want to fight about it, and then it ends there up until the invasion or the insertion of these other people, and now you've got slavery forever. In perpetuity, your children are slaves, because that's how much I don't like you niggas no more. And I am you, but I don't like you. Like, what was Oliver Cromwell thinking when he decided to do what he did outside of maybe he wasn't thinking, or he's an evil genius? I want
But
to.
see, he was in a sense, he was a Protestant, and he was black now. He was a Protestant, you know. He looked like that black jazz musician, you know. And he was a Protestant, but he hated the Catholics. And
Which is what Protestants were, right? Like, essentially you got these religious groups, and then they said, like what you described earlier, I believe this a little bit differently, so I'm gonna go be this group over here. And, well, I don't believe in the Virgin Mary. Yeah, Jesus had a mom, but I don't believe she was a virgin, so I'm gonna go believe over here. I don't believe about these saints, but I believe everything else y'all said, so I'm gonna go do this. All of it is confusion to me. It
was confusion, but you gotta look at it from this perspective. Is that all of the elites were black Catholics.
Mm-hmm.
They were black Catholics, they were the royalty, they were the elites, you see. And so then, if you remember, and we'll use England as an example, then after a while, in a sense, business people, you know, started businesses, and as they began to participate in trade, many of the regular people began to have more money than some of the elites. Okay. And so then, therefore, they said, "Hey, I want to have some power." You see, and so then, because of the fact that most of the people who were rich were Catholics, then other people said, "Well, I'm going to be a Protestant, and then I can, in a sense, have my group." So, see, remember, all of Europe was mainly black until 130-year war. See, during the 130-year war, that's when they started bringing in all these Europeans from the Caucasus Mountains. That's when they started bringing in the Black Plague and all that other shit.
Right.
Because they were nasty. They didn't like washing their hands. You know, they didn't like washing their hands. And even today, the basic problem in many hospitals is that some nurses and doctors refuse to wash their hands. Isn't that? It's something about being clean when it comes to being European. I don't know. It's must and dirty hands. Europeans love being musty and having dirty hands. That's why they had perfume to kind of cover it up.
Right. Yes, Joan is on it. They thought washing was a sin. I learned that in school for sure.
Get out of here. Sure. I didn't go to Catholic school. I went to Protestant school. I went to just a public school.
It was
how was that transmitted to you guys?
Well, they definitely made sure that we were in the bathroom to wash our hands. Well, not that they were actually telling us to wash our hands, but trying to be pure is you doing too much. You know, when you're trying to do too much, that means that you're holier than thou, and that's not your place. You know, they got hierarchy of things, and if you aren't at that hierarchy, well, then you're supposed to be unclean. You haven't the privilege to be clean or to be white or holy. You know, wear white. It's not yours.
I guess because the old Protestant idea was that you were born in sin or whatever. You were born in sin.
Right.
As opposed to Islamic theology is that you were born, you know, in righteousness and truth. And the Muslims, they would like to wash their hands, feet before they would pray. And then the Protestants said, well, hey, if they do that, then we should be the opposite and be musty and stanky. You know,
it's gotta be.
And it's very interesting, you know, very interesting.
It is. I have another thing. I don't know if you saw this happen in real time, but if you didn't, I would love to slow this down.
Go ahead.
There. Is it there? There's my screen. Cool. Check this out. Oh, I tried to have it right at the right minute mark. There we go. Stupid. Oh, come on, Eve. It's right there. Start there.
Was a mandate like has not been seen in many decades. We won all 7 swing states, giving us an electoral college victory of 312 votes. We won the popular vote by big numbers and won counties in our country. And won counties in our country, 2,700 to 525, on a map that reads almost completely red for Republican. Now, for the first time in modern history, more Americans believe that our country is headed in the right direction than the wrong direction. In fact, it's an astonishing record, 27-point swing, the most ever. Likewise, small business optimism saw its single largest one-month gain ever recorded, a 41-point jump.
Members are directed to uphold and maintain decorum in the House and to cease any further disruptions. That's your warning. Members are engaging in willful and continuing breach of decorum, and the chair is prepared to direct the Sergeant at Arms to restore order to the joint session.
You know, Eve, I hated looking at that shit. I hated seeing that brother stand up. I mean, you got these black people fighting for every damn body but themselves.
That's the brother, the guy. I don't know his name. And I'm sorry, I probably should know his name. But that's what I wanted to show you, him, and I guess just the crowd's general reaction to Trump. Al Green, that's his name, Al Green, the guy who.
I don't know, but I know that we always fighting for everybody but ourselves.
Well, I just want to know, where is all this vitriol up against the guy nobody's afraid of, supposedly? You know, Sleepy Joe, nobody was afraid of him. He was everybody's friend. He's supposed to be, okay, it is Al Green. Thanks, Joan, and All the Way Free. Al Green and these Democrats have all this smoke for Trump now. And they want to talk about HR 40 now when they don't have a leg to stand on. Yeah. And I'm so confused, because if you have all of this energy, why aren't we using it when it makes sense? Or is it like and I really don't think this, but just to be fair, is it an aha moment? Like, oh shit, I should have done that. Let me do it now because I feel it. Or is it really just smoke and mirrors with them?
I think it's performative. I think it's smoke and mirrors, because see, it's easy now because we had to go back to the California Assembly, and the California Assembly when they first started out that they were going to do a reparations thing, and then none of the black people in the legislature would bring up it. It took a Latino to bring up, in a sense, the whole idea about reparations, and then those black people shot it down, you know. And so then it's all coming down to this delineation And what do I mean by delineation is that we're finding out that so many people that we have representing us in Congress, representing us on all these committees, a lot of them are not FBA. So then they don't see any reason why we should be interested in things. And this is it. Black people today are interested in three things. Number one, we want a Black-centered crime bill. Number two, we want reparations. Number three, we want justice. And number four, we want equity. I didn't say equality, did I? Because there's no such thing as equality. I'm tall, this other guy's short. You see, I like pretty women. You can only get ugly women. Thank you. So then there's no equality. There's no equality. But I want equity. In other words, I want to have the same opportunity. I want, in a sense, I want to be able to get what I want out of life without you getting in my way. So I want equity. I don't want equality. I want equity. You see, because equity means I might have a little money in my pocket. And mama wants some new shoes. I mean, damn. Every day I look in the closet and look at all my wife's clothes and all these boxes of shoes. Somebody would say, well, maybe you should clean out the house. I will do that. But the thing is this, that I had 3 pair of shoes, some tennis shoes, some boots for when it snow real bad up here. I put on the boots so I could get out there and shovel the snow. And then some tennis shoes. You see, and so I had tennis shoes and I had regular shoes in case it rained. But my wife, damn, she had about 20 pair of shoes and shit. All different type of shoes, all cute little shoes. I mean, damn. And I mean, damn, how could you wear this shit? But she was always coordinated, Hell, somebody, if you caught me coordinated, I must have was kind of drunk that day, and I don't even drink.
No, you definitely need to get you some Timberlands and some Nike boots and some Jordans when you get your check.
Yeah. I was gonna do that.
But to me, that's more of the same. Your wife having all of those shoes, or women having all of these coordinating combinations. And then men are very functional. You've got your snowshoes, your work shoes, and your tennis shoes.
Yeah. And dress up shoes when I used to dress up, just like in the old days, you used to have your church clothes. Now, I mean, everybody had a suit. I haven't bought a suit in years. So I don't know. It's not right. But back in the day, I had a suit. Whenever I did my presentations, I would wear my suit and my tie. I would teach, I would wear. When I taught little kids, I used to like to wear a tie because little kids don't touch people with a tie.
I wish little kids didn't touch women with white, cream color, or light color clothing.
Oh, they're going to touch you. And then when you get an upper grade, the boys are always going to hug you. But it seems as though when the boys hug the upper grade center teachers, it seems that their head is always resting on the teacher's breast. Yeah, I mean, is that a coincidence? I don't know. But I don't think it's a coincidence.
No, it's not a coincidence, and you can tell because all of them other people, it's a lot of them getting in trouble because of they got real comfortable with the bosom hugs. Maybe they hadn't felt that in a while. I really don't know, but that's not necessarily something that we are known for. I don't think
correct me. I don't think I've seen on Facebook or YouTube an incident where a Black teacher was having sex with one of the students. Maybe I missed something, but I see a lot of that with white teachers.
Right.
I
not female, not Black.
Yeah, the male, some of the male teachers.
Right.
But I don't know.
I'm not going to say it doesn't happen. It's weird that that's a stereotype that everybody can say comfortably, that white women get caught up with their students.
But I hate to say this, Eve. And don't take my black card away from me. But I did work with a fellow, and he would kind of, I think he was kind of going with the kids, and and it was an incident. He got in trouble, but his family was very high in the Chicago Board of Education. So they didn't ever put him in jail or nothing. But I think he was, he had some suggestive pictures, and so then, but again, I don't know. I don't know if it was. I don't know. I'm always talking a lot of ish, but I didn't go tell. So I wasn't. That wasn't. That wasn't right. I should have told somebody maybe. But the thing,
I'll make you feel better. Well, I don't know if this is gonna make you feel better or not, but I'll meet you in the middle and let you know that as a student athlete, there was a coach that I don't know that things were happening as much as I know that when we went on road trips, it's lots of girls in your bed. And okay, you're not naked or anything, and everybody got on clothes, but why are all those girls in your bed? And why are they in your hotel room? And maybe you'll say, well, the whole team is in the room. Fine. But then what about when the whole team leaves and it's just 4 y'all, you and 3 other athletes, and they're in your bed? And again, okay, y'all all have clothes on. You're Michael Jackson. I don't know, but I didn't see anything bad, as much as I know my parents would have blown a gasket if they had found out that was happening while I was on the team, or if did he ask you to get in the bed? And I don't think it was an ask. I think that some people get very comfortable with their positions of power, and they use children at whatever age they are, even the little mature girls. They're so
because that's because the fact is that we've been conditioned. We've been conditioned in Western society that nobody ever really teaches us about platonic love. We've been conditioned to feel that if you like somebody, eventually it's supposed to evolve into having sexual relations. Right. And that's sad, but that's our culture. And so that's our culture. And so then, and it's very hard, it's very hard in a sense for us to just say, I love you. And not mean that I got to have sex with you, right, but I love you. See? Right. And so then this is because we've been conditioned by looking at the movies from Hollywood and all that if you love somebody, you have to have sex. I mean, that's the way the movies are. And no matter what we say, we've been conditioned by a lot of these movies, by a lot of the books that we read. And most of us who went to college and this stuff. And, let's just face it. Most people who went to college were readers in elementary and high school. And we read a lot of novels, a lot of books and stuff. And so then a lot of times you have been influenced by this, even though we like to talk about, that diasporic white black guy, he's been conditioned by these books he read in the West. We've been conditioned too by the literature that we've read.
I would agree with that. I think that, well, as much as I don't like religion, some of y'all need church, because at church, and maybe it's just the church that I went to, so fine, maybe that's my experience, but you learn about different types of love if you go to a church that's talking about these things, so from agape, which is the one that they're always going to talk about, and then they're going to talk about the intimate love, consummate, I don't know, but then the other ones that maybe you learn from a college class or you're just really interested in that stuff, you're right, people don't get an opportunity to experience, learn, or experience it, learn from it, or see it, because all the people that are in love or have love for each other are either directly related to the person or intimate with the person. And then, like you said, people, they have friends, and then you start finding out that this child has all these different uncles. They're not uncles at all. They're not related to anybody, but they Uncle Johnny, Uncle Jimmy, Uncle Tommy, and Uncle Timmy. They all love me, though. It's very
interesting.
strange.
Grades so far say sex over love. I believe it started in school. As Black kids, we were looking at hypersexualized media in society. One reason why my peers were horny as hell. Yeah, they were horny as hell. But a lot of times, in a sense, a lot of times I remember back in the day, is that I felt I had to have sex before I died, because the thing is this, is that if I didn't have sex and I wasn't a man, I wasn't a brother, because that was supposed to be what everybody had to do. But when I taught in Evanston, and when I was teaching in Evanston, that was the weirdest place I ever worked at. Because when I taught in Evanston, Illinois, because these people would be cousins, uncles, cousins, uncles, and brothers in the same damn family. How the hell? Damn, what was your mama doing? What was your daddy doing?
Everybody.
And you're right. And they would be brother, cousin, uncle. And, because maybe because of the fact Evanston was a small town, and it was so small in terms of people, and growing up in Chicago, it was hundreds of thousands of us, or millions.
Right.
But and it was kind of very interesting. But again, it's just the things that you notice, working in a small town as opposed to, in the big city. And the thing is this, though, is that, we were conditioned for this. I don't really even think I really wanted to have sex and stuff, but I was supposed to have sex. And so society, Black society was putting pressure on you to have sex, or you're gay, because see, no matter what people say, Black society is gay phobic. We don't want our children to be gay. And that's just the way it is, And so a lot of times, you feel, hey, I gotta have some sex because that'll make everything okay. Your father, son, do you have a girlfriend? What's up, Pops? Clyde, I haven't been seeing Clyde with any girls around here. What's going? Not that I'm trying to imply anything, Clyde, but Clyde, And
I think that is our genius working against their deviousness. If Dr. Welsing and Mr. Fuller are accurate in their understanding of the genetic takeover, or not wanting the genetic takeover, however you want to splice that, then essentially they knew your parents, our grandparents, they knew that they were trying to make you gay. Yeah. And it was more like, no, we're going to fix this. We're going to nip this in the bud. So maybe you are gay, but you're going to knock out some babies before you decide that you want to lay up with another hairy ass at nighttime. You got your hairy ass, and then he got his hairy ass. Y'all like it, but at least you got these babies out the way first. And I said it. I think that's genius. It's just
it was genius.
Your genius.
But I think the white man was even more genius, in the sense is that he inculcated in us. Now, listen to me now. Listen to me.
Yes.
He inculcated in us is that if you're really if you're really somebody, you're special. And if you're that special Negro that's supposed to be successful, then you have to love yourself, and you have to be gay. Because it's by being gay, in a sense, and loving yourself and loving your own gender, that shows, in a sense, that you're on the team. And what I found, in a sense, we used to always talk back in the day, is that we'd always say, we'll say John Hinn became gay, and they'll say, how do you know? Oh, he moved over to the north side, Boys Town, It's a place in Chicago called Boys Town. They always bring it up when they're having the Pride Day and the Pride Parade. So a lot of times, brothers back in the day, when they moved to the north, if they moved to the west side, okay. If they move to the far south side, okay. But if they move to the north side, well, you lost that brother. You lost that sister. They lost. They're gone.
They had to go be with their tribe.
They had to be with their tribe, you know. And so then they promoted that stuff. And I think, I mean, even today, a lot of times, a lot of kids feel that if they're special, then they're supposed to be gay, because part of being special is being gay. And I think, and I noticed when I was teaching that a lot of kids who were gay, those students were students who thought they were better than everybody else. You know, don't touch me. Don't touch me. You know, I mean, you stay. Get away. Get away from me, please. You know, then they start,
oh no.
I don't know. That's the way it used to be.
Oh man. That's
that's
to me, that's more of the same. Resources deprivation. Why do you feel like you're special because you're gay? Because you looked at TV, the movies, you saw this person getting pedestalized, and oh, by the way, they're gay. And then
I mean, like if you
genius, but it backfired on them because they're the ones in the red, and then we're gay as we want to be with a whole bunch of kids. I can't tell you the amount of masculine type of women who have children. They are a stud, a manly woman. They do not want you to refer to them as the girl name that they whatever, but they busted out a couple kids, and they can't do that. When they go gay, they cut their stuffs out, cut their things off, and it's done. No more me.
What do Tariq always say? Those studs in Washington D.C. They want a little soul pole every now and then. I don't know, but I'm old. You know, but my daughter said the only real. She said my daughter used to say that only women can be bisexual. Most of the time, if a guy becomes involved with men, usually they want to go all the way. You know, but I was just thinking about just look at this past the Oscars. You know, and all the people in there are gay. You know, Domingo, Agoria Arriba or whatever, and then Domingo. You know, and a lot of them are tethers, but it's other people. You know, what's his name? Porter. Remember Porter back in the day? You saw his IDV with the dresses. Then you know, him and his mate partner broke up, and we haven't heard from him since. So I don't know what happened to him.
Yeah, Bussy Porter. I don't know.
Okay. Tarika. We'll call you Tarika.
You know, we're gonna have to call me Tarika tonight. No,
Tarika. Go ahead. Bussy Porter.
He's the reason that my children stopped watching Octonauts, I think, because
really?
I like to watch the cartoons with them. I like cartoons. I'm an artist. And a lot of times, you guys, there's jokes in there specifically for the parent. I promise. It's not just a bunch of noise, especially if you're watching something with some substance. And I find that the nature shows, you know, the ones where they're learning about animals or time. I love Dinosaur Train on PBS Kids. I don't know if it's still out there or not because DEI is gone, you know, and I love Reading Rainbow, but that's not there anymore either. So all the ones that I like end up going away. But Bussy Porter was on Octonauts as a seahorse or something, and you don't know that it's him because it's an animated show, but you know it's him if you know who it is. And we were like, oh hell no, done, no more Octonauts for y'all. And they're all like, why? And it's like, well, this energy coming from this little seahorse. But then I didn't think about it till right now. The seahorse is a creature in nature that the man takes over the development of the eggs at insemination. So the female gives it its eggs, and then the man's got to be it's a fucking trans. Like, I never thought about that until right now. And know that the seahorse is trans, but you will because you know it's. Or maybe you won't, because you won't think
Yeah.
about it like I just thought about it. But it's
But just think, but think how it got outrageous. We got to just admit that during the Biden administration, remember they started having these men who were saying they were girls with beards and reading at story time. It just got outrageous. Biden during the Biden period, it got outrageous.
Dr. Winters, I'm sorry. I would not have an issue with reading time or the drag queen reading time if it hadn't been exposed that the people doing these readings have felonies, malicious felonies against children. How are you a whole pedophile that's on the offenders registry, but you get to go to the library and read to children for any period? Fuck that. And yes, I know that sounded weird, but fuck that, because what are we doing?
You said it with earnestness. You said it with earnestness. So can't nobody say that now, family, you see Eve can't cuss.
I'm so over we have to make a person feel comfortable when, like you said, at the end of the day, if you're not comfortable with you, then you'll never really be gay. And like we talked about a couple shows ago, we all really want to be gay. We want to be happy and free.
They took my
and
word.
They did. They stole it.
That word.
You gotta take it back. But it's gonna be kind of gay to take it back if you think about it, because you're gonna have to go against the norm. You're gonna have to make people accept the fact that they've been abusive towards everybody because they have a problem with themselves. And it's crazy because I think when you're sick, everybody knows that there's certain remedies, especially not everybody. If you're a Black American, foundational Black American, or a Black person from wherever you're from, you got remedies for specific things.
Right.
When we get tummy aches, you grab you some saltines and some ginger ale, and you go have yourself a quiet seat somewhere. Stop moving around. Be still. Eat your saltines and your
ginger ale is always there. Whenever
you'll be fine.
Get your ginger ale, you'll be okay.
Yeah, but saltines they get forgotten about, like you said earlier. The back of the cabinet, nobody wants to just eat some salt. The driest cracker in the history of crackers, but it works for when you need it to work, right? And I can't help but make the connection between, we got the driest crackers out here right now, Trump, Tom Homan. But if it works, it works. And I don't know. Tom said that he's rounding them up and trying to find these missing children. And he says it like he really, I don't know if they didn't tell Tom, like, hey, this is just for show. You're not really out here trying to, but he what
was it? It was a few thousand. They never found them, but that's because, for big business, every business has a demon, and children and women are good sacrifices.
Sacrificial, for sure.
And I remember when I was teaching at county jail, and this guy, he said, "Yeah, Dr. Winters, I didn't have a PhD then. I was teaching at county jail." He said, "Yeah, Clyde." He said, "Do you know there's a place down in Alabama where you can buy slaves?" I said, "What?" He said, "It's a place in Alabama, and you can pick out you can go there and you can pick out, and they have the people in cages. It is, yes, it is an underworld out there. It is a world. Yeah. It is a world that I do not want to know about. I only want to hear good stuff. I'm sorry, Eve.
That's okay, because I feel like that, because once you know about the bad stuff, then you can't help wanting to do something about it. Yeah. Is that true or false?
It is. It's true. And that's why I didn't like, after a while, I didn't like teaching high school, because for some reason, all the girls wanted to tell me about their uncles, brothers, fathers, mothers, boyfriends raping them.
Right.
And I couldn't, and these were situational problems.
Right.
And I couldn't help them.
Right.
I couldn't help them. And so I was happy.
You can't adopt every single child. And then what do you calling CPS on all these kids? And now they're broke. You done broke up 28 different families.
Right. And so I was happy when I started teaching, elementary and upper grade because, elementary and upper grade girls, they don't tell you all their problems. But high school girls, if you got a damn ear, oh, they got something to tell you that's depressing. And I couldn't. I'm sorry, family. I couldn't take it. I couldn't take it because how do I get you out of this situation when you're stuck in the situation? I used to call them situational problems. How do I get you out of it? You got a colleague and you look in his desk, and then you see one of the students' nude pictures. Should I tell on this dude? What the hell is wrong with you? But his family was high up in the board. He got eventually some people tried to fire him, but they saved it. His family was high up in the board and they saved his job. And so then I don't know. I just couldn't respect him. I couldn't respect a brother like that going with the girls. I couldn't respect that because see, the whole point is that I felt that I'm up in front of these people. I'm up in front of these people. I'm young. I'm handsome. Muscular. I mean that's just the way it was. I mean, when I was teaching at Carver, when I first started teaching, I started teaching in '73. Now I'm 22. Some of the kids on my students were 21.
Right.
21. When I was substituting in this science class, and so all the kids walked out except for this one girl. Then she laid on the table and said, "Take me." I said, "Please get up and get out of here, please." And it was weird. But,
she said she's gonna get that A.
Yeah, but they'll make so bad as that. 20 years later, I had a teacher do the same thing, laid on the table and said, said, "Damn, I went from the students to some middle-aged teacher." I don't know. I used to have an ugly girl syndrome, And
the ugly girls are throwing themselves at you?
No, the ugly girls, the pretty girl syndrome. What I mean by the pretty girl syndrome is that everybody wants you because you're pretty. And so then you can lose your sense. But see, because of the fact that back at that time, I thought I was God's gift to women. But the whole point is that I didn't let it go to my head. Even though I knew it was God's gift to women, And so then, but the thing is that it can make you into a gash man, and that was terrible. Because see, a lot of times when girls be throwing themselves at you, women be throwing themselves at you, then therefore, if you don't watch it, you'll start to take advantage of people, And then also sometimes those women want to get revenge too. Because I had assistant principals who got mad at me because when I went to this school, and so when I went to Bennett, and so then I used to have so much hair. I used to try. I had it in a ponytail, and whatever the man tell or whatever. So so then when I got the job, I'm looking like, hey, this is a real hip dude and stuff. I said, damn, I don't want to wear this shit. My wife said, I like it. I want you to wear it. I said, I'm not going to wear this stuff. I like it. Wear it. Hell, well, if you want your lady to be, so I wore it. So then, so I guess when I was at the school, all the lady teachers, I guess they felt that I was available, but I wasn't. And so then, people get mad at you. They get mad at you. Back then, I don't know what happened then, but back then, those women want to hurt you if you wouldn't, because as a man, you're supposed to be what they said, a dog or whatever. And so then if you wouldn't have sex with a lot of these women, they would get an attitude and stuff. I don't know, maybe your partner can tell you what happened to him. But the thing is that
I'm not disagreeing. I laugh because it's not the first time I'm hearing this where women are so double standardy. If you women catcall all the time. Yeah. And then if a man does that, that's not proper or right, unless it's the man that she wants to be doing these things to her or about her or whatever.
Yeah, it's hard.
I've seen the ugly dude at work get in trouble for doing the same thing that the handsome guy at work does to everybody. So then how are you getting hemmed up with HR by the ugly chick that gets jazzed up, or she's all gassed up by the man that you're just imitating him, and you can't, because it's not for you.
And so a lot of times that's why certain teachers, they don't go into the teacher's lounge hardly. They just stay in their room or eat lunch in their room, just so it won't be any conflicts. It can be complicated. It can be very complicated, navigating these schools. You guys out there in the real world, y'all don't know, school can be like a paid place or whatever.
I can imagine how bad it is for a man in a school setting, because there's not a lot of you. And then maybe there are a few different men, but it's like the janitors and the custodians and security, not really a lot of teachers.
And then something nice happened to one of your girl students, and then they're coming at you, want to hug you, and then whoop, you got to throw those hands up now.
Right.
And but the boys, they can go hug on the teacher with the big breast. And so then,
because of how tall I am, I learned that.
You're kind of short though, aren't you?
That's what I'm saying. Like you 12 and we're the same.
Yeah.
I side hug. It's always got to be a side hug if we're touching, and I don't really want y'all touching me anyway because of germs and stuff. But the side hug, unless it's the little ones, because they can't. They're still at my belly area.
They used to say teachers who taught from 4th grade on down didn't live too long. I don't know if that's true or not, but they used to be pretty sick, because those kids, and then they shaking hands with you. But the good thing was that by the 2000s, everybody taught their kids
cough into your arm. Right.
Back in the day was, and then want to shake your hand, want to touch you all over you. I want to die.
It used to gross me out, and it still grosses me out. Snotty nosed children, and for the little kids, I guess maybe it's the mom in me. You want to just wipe it for them, but then I'm sorry, you're not mine, and I don't want to touch your boogers. But I gotta give you the tissue for you to smear it all over your face, and now I don't even want to look at you anymore.
But if you're teaching if you're gonna teach under 4th grade, you're gonna have lots of tissues on your desk.
Oh, I do. That's what I'm saying. Like my class now, I had 2 snotty nosed kids today, and I told them both to go to the bathroom and blow their nose. But the teacher who teaches the younger students under me, I know what she does. She's not a mom, but she's very motherly. And for the most part, she'll just do it. But to me, I'm like, ick. I don't want to touch your boogers or your snot. But then you're so little, you're not going to do it right. I know you're not going to do it right. And then you're going to have snot all over your face.
By the time I retired, you always had gloves. Everybody had to have plastic gloves, a box of plastic gloves, just in case somebody was, because HIV was bad. So, just in case somebody was bleeding a bloody nose or something like that, you just wanted to make sure, in the sense that you didn't catch something. So I don't know. But I can't imagine how school is now, because I retired in 2016 and it was getting bad then. So I cannot even imagine what you guys go through in terms of trying to teach. I had substituted about 2019 to 2021. I substituted a few suburban schools. That was just when they was beginning to him, them, thou, those, and you had to know their pronouns, and and it was just weird. But again, hey,
it's so strange to be in the setting that I'm in now, because it is so different than public school, but it is different in general. I mean, I think school is a lot different now, and I don't have any white students. And a couple of years ago, we had some biracial students, but for the most part, they either identify with their Black side 1,000,000,000% because it's ingrained in them from the parents, or they are a colorless person, and then I don't know that they feel at home at the school that I teach at. And I think it's the self-love thing that we talked about earlier. I guess maybe people want you to be bland, so then if you're so colorful, you're so seasoned, you're so all that is you, who are you trying to be? You trying to do too much. Look at you doing so much. You need to be bland. And everybody wants us to be white. And I don't get it, because from crackers, which is supposed to be a derogatory term that was used for white people of rural South America, not South America, but Southern America. And
look like they embrace that term today, though.
Sure. But then, well, in my comment section from that one video, I go to it from time to time, because it's new comments all the time, and white people saying, but why didn't you, not white people don't know who they are. Why didn't you just call him a cracker back? Talking about the white guy who called the Black guy the N-word. And I'm like, does that really hit the same? Oh, you're a nigger, you're a cracker. Does that?
It doesn't hit the same. Not nowadays.
I don't know. Like, that just
they made, now they have made movies where they say, I'm a cracker, and they have made it like it's cool. So a lot of white people don't see that as a derogatory term.
So then add into the fact that we were taught that cracker came from the overseer and the cracking of the whip, right? So of course they would accept the term that says that I'm in a position of power
overlord
over you indefinitely. And then, well, it wouldn't be derogatory unless you're just saying that acknowledging history is mean.
Yeah.
And well, I guess that's why I don't really care what the government calls me, as long as they cut the check. And I don't think that we care to. I don't think that that's gonna
cut the check
thing right now. We are focused on what we're supposed to be focused on, and I think the crackers in charge right now are the saltines that America might have needed to all the upset belly we had going on. We took in too much. We gotta
get that ginger ale and some
ginger ale and saltines.
But I'm loving it. I'm really loving it. I'm really loving it, and I'm fascinated by this whole turn of events. I'm fascinated by what happened in the last election. I'm fascinated by the fact, in the sense, is that we've always been that wild card, but now we don't mind playing the wild card. And I think that after the 2024 election, we don't mind playing that wild card. Crazy Fire said, I've got a crush on this beautiful sister who works the register at the supermarket. A Charlie complexion like none other. She wears a hijab and seems shy, not willing to talk because of her religion. I mean, that's what she's supposed to do. If you're a good Muslim woman, you're not supposed to be talking to people, because you men are just so
full stop.
That's right.
She works at the supermarket. She's saying she's approachable during the times of.
That's right.
And then she's at this register.
Yeah. But by her wearing that, in a sense, that makes you feel that you shouldn't really communicate with. I don't know, because I can't really say, because a lot of times, people be wanting to hook up and they don't know what to do, because everybody has their different things. It's just like, people always say you shouldn't hook up on a job with your coworker, but a lot of people got married with that's how they met their husbands or wives or partners, was on the job. So I don't know. It's very complicated, Eve. It's very complicated in terms of what works. I guess this is it. What works for one couple may not work for another couple. Mm-hmm. But the thing is, this is that people are saltines because they're salty. They're upset. And today, in a sense, as today, FBA are saltines, because We want our reparations. We want our reparations. We want them now. We want that Black Crime Act, for Black people. You see, we want justice and we want equity, not equality. We don't want equality anymore. That was what Martin Luther King was talking about. He wanted equality. We want equity. Do what the hell you want to do, but give me my piece of the pie.
Right.
Give me my way to make it so that I can, in a sense, stop being salty, so I won't be a saltine anymore. I don't want to be salty. I don't want to have an attitude. I don't want to be mad. I don't want to be angry. I want to be peaceable. I want to be hopeful. I want to be helpful. And that means I need my checkable.
Need that check.
Yeah. Cut the check, baby. Cut the check. We had to get that. We had to get that done. And that's the name of the game, Reparations, baby. Reparations. We deserve reparations, baby. Reparations. We deserve reparations. We deserve reparations like yesterday, not just today. No, not just today. We deserve our reparations. Give us our money, baby. Cut the check.
Cut the check, Black first because it's brilliant. People talk too much. Say less, remain on cold, follow the spirit. When the going gets tough, it's time for resilience. Cut the check, Black first because it's brilliant. People talk too much. Say less, remain on cold, follow the spirit. When the going gets tough.
Cut the check. Listen. Those Nikes are out there waiting for me.
It's your
They're
Nike.
waiting.
They're yours.
Yes. And once I get my check,
Up, but that's okay because they're
yes. Once I get I'm gonna give me some ankle socks. I'm gonna get some ankle socks, and I'm gonna give me some shorts. I'm not gonna wear the knee length pants. I'm gonna get some shorts so I can really look weird. Look at that old Negro with his Nikes, and then I'm gonna be smart. I might even get some of those fake teeth that they wear a lot in New York.
Get you some fronts with
Get
Jordans.
a metal grill. Give me a grill. Damn, you Negroed up. Yes, I am Negroed up because I got my check. I got my reparations check.
Well, while you do that, you go get you a lowrider that's lifted with some rims. They got to be taller than me. The rims got to be taller than me. And they got to spin. You got to make them spin. They got to be spinning.
But you bringing up those high riders and all that. We used to give away our culture so much. Mm-hmm. Especially to Latinos, we used to let them get away with stealing our culture, and then letting people starting to believe that they did it, and mm-hmm. It's delineation. Delineation is good. Delineation is good because by delineating, you can know what's really going on, and that's an important way to be.
I think that when we delineate, it's just accepting the truth. Maybe we existed in this delusional land that America was a melting pot, and because of this word assimilation, they told us that we assimilated. We didn't assimilate shit. We were here first. We knew the language. We knew the land. They tried to take it. We took it back and are trying to regain our footing. I don't know if people have ever tried to run in a slippery area on snow, up a hill, grass or sand or whatever, but you might lose your footing, but it doesn't mean that you're done. It just means that you kind of need to recalibrate. And all these people with the melanin saying that they were not Black, what they should have been saying is, I'm not white. Like,
Black.
I'm not white. That's what they should have been saying. And they weren't. We were putting it on them. You speak a different language, you got curly hair, and you season your food. You're something. And then we allowed them to delineate. They
No,
did it
no.
first.
I saw this video the other day, and it was talking about it was this British guy, and he was talking about it was a British guy talking about how FBA cooked, and he kept saying, "Look at them, you know, they're making that macaroni and cheese, but look, they're putting in extra cheese." And they keep putting in seasoning. They put seasoning in everything. They're frying that chicken, but they don't just fry it. I mean, we just throw that shit in there. They got to put flour on it, but then they can't just put the flour. And they got to put seasoned flour on it. And then they not only do that, they put seasoned flours in it, but they got to dip it in the milk and then put it into the batter. And then some of them Negroes, they put eggs in the milk. What is this? And then and when I was looking at this video of this white guy, and I just started saying, do you know we do like seasoning. We did not get everything from Africa. I'm sorry. Aboriginal black people, FBAs we didn't get shit, Harley. We didn't get shit from Africa. I'm sorry to say. We didn't get shit from Africa. Nothing. I hate to say this. We got the words cracker. We got the words what's another word? It's another word we got a lot of different words for white people. Hunky.
Redneck.
Yeah, we got hunky. That's just why we got. That's enough. Fulani word mean riding on the horse. We got a lot. And then we had. But I mean, we the ones who want to put that okra in there. We want to put that hot sauce. When you really look at us, what did we get from Africa? And that's because of the fact is that we had Aboriginal black people here already.
Right.
And and then we forget the fact is that by 1776, the black people was already here who was here. And the ones that came from Africa, they were already here. That's why when I hear some black people saying, "Oh, I got Nigerian, I'm a Yoruba, Hausa," you might have some Fulani, but you ain't got no damn Nigerian shit because we stopped bringing slaves over by the time they started getting slaves from Nigeria. So then they're lying to you. Tell them to do another DNA test. Now they say he came from Senegambia, a little Fulani here, a little Mandingo there. Okay, maybe a little Akan, but not too much Akan. But Senegambian, Cree, Chat, up around there. They can even say you came from Europe because you got that Black Irish. So they might even say some European. But if they start saying that you got Nigerian blood, Hausa, no. Oyo, Igbo, no. They're lying to you. They just saw you coming and have them check that DNA test. It's bullshit, But
It's crazy you say that because I was watching Mayor Brandon.
Uh-huh.
That's your mayor, right, Brandon?
Yeah, in Chicago.
He was talking about it was one of those Senate meetings or Congress meetings where they get to grill the person. So then you've got all these people and they said, okay, look, I just want a yes or a no. And they ask them all these questions and none of these mayors that they have on the hot seat are answering yes or no at all. And they're wonderfully put questions. You really could just say yes or no and then just eat the consequences. If you're saying that you agree with illegals taking over, just own it. I mean, you said it on Twitter and they're quoting him and he's like, Chicago will follow the law. So as long as there's, all of these steps have been followed, then we will do what you're telling us to do. I say all that to say that one of the questions was about harboring illegal criminals. And he says that he's here for all Chicagoans. And then he talked about how Chicago was founded by a Haitian. And I was like, wait a minute, hold up, pause. I get that you can say something like that, but when was Chicago founded?
Yeah, just because
in the goddamn 1700s.
Yeah.
That's not a fucking Haitian. I'm sorry. I mean, it might have been.
But we don't even know if he was a Haitian. We don't even know if he came from Haiti just because he spoke.
Just because he spoke French. All the niggas who speak French, you're from Haiti.
Parlez-vous français? I mean, damn. I mean, that's just the way it is. Shit. I mean, hey, but it's complicated. But they say that he's Haitian, and I don't know. But you could look at his hairline and tell that Come on now. You know what Tariq said. Look at that
That's
hairline.
what I'm saying, though.
Look
Like,
at that hairline.
people are doing the most to insert themselves into our story. And I'm like, okay, fine. But let's look at the timeline, because when you look at the timeline, well, everybody wasn't in Africa, or we didn't exist at the time of the dinosaurs. You know, like, there's some things that have to be understood before we can even have a conversation that makes sense, because classifying it as him as a Haitian in 2025 is problematic when we delineated, because Chicago doesn't exist anymore because it is a product of a person who wasn't from here. Or is America different now? And because it's different, we can give respect to where a person was born, but our shared story, like
Joan says, we were acculturated. No, we weren't acculturated, Joan. We were never acculturated. And the reason we weren't acculturated, I mean, if we were acculturated, then American culture would not be FBA culture. The music, the food, the language, everything about America is FBA. If we had been acculturated, then maybe we would see some Irish influence, maybe some Switzerland. You know, like Switzerland, knocking the tour, you know how they had a nice little bonnet, and they be out there cooking they wooden shoes and shit.
But wait. I think I disagree with you. Based off of what you just said right now. Our different dialects and slang is directly related to the place that we might have come from, Europe ways or wherever the ways. What I mean, how people in New York talk, and then people in Baltimore talk.
Yeah.
And none of
people in Chicago talk. So we got a dialect too.
But then that would be, to me, reflective of, if you want to go with public school education, well, that's the white people's influence on you guys. The white people were from Dutchland, and they were from Holland and Germany. So this is why y'all talk like this, or y'all use these words. But if that was us bringing our terms and stuff over here,
we know that that's not true, Eve. It's not true, because they've never let us associate with them.
Oh, yeah,
how dare you? How dare you? Think about this. These people hated you. No way they even wanted you to use their last name. That's why a lot of times you find all these black people with names on the plantation and had nothing to do with the damn master. You see.
Speaking of that, though, Sojourner Truth, born Isabella Baumfree. This is what I talked about in Sunday school last week. And you made me think about, well, where's Baumfree coming from, right? So then you look it up, and her parents are Baumfrees, and they're born from Baumfrees. And it's like, well, God damn it, if Sojourner Truth, who was born in, they don't know, 1787, around that time, can come from people with the last name like Baumfree, then these are not their last names. They're ours. And then they've erased you. Dr. William Walter Plecker, you out of existence. And then
but we also voluntarily took ourselves out of existence, because we took ourselves out of it because we said, hey, we'll go along to get along. See? So
is that assimilation, though? Because that's what Joan was talking about. I mean, that's what I had said earlier, and then she said acculturated.
But see,
they acculturated to us.
Right? No, but to assimilate means that you had to be brought into their culture. We were never brought into the white culture. They always kept a divide. You see, and see, because they always kept a divide, then therefore when they say, oh, black people went through an acculturation process, what was the new culture that we adhered to? There is no new culture we adhered to, because we already had our culture. See, we forget over here. That's what makes the delineation movement so important, is that by 1776, we were already here. We already had our own ways of living. We had our own towns, our own villages. You know, yes, we may have in a sense been chattel slaves, some of us, but a lot of us in a sense have been free men before then. But then we lost the battle. Once we lost the battle, hell, they made us a damn slave.
There's one of the people I follow on Twitter has I think an excellent argument against using the term slave versus prisoner of war, even though they could be synonymous. So I'm not saying that they're not synonymous, but just which one has that punch, just like nigger, cracker, they just hit the same, slave hits harder than prisoner of war when it comes to keeping you away from your shit. This is his argument. I'm not saying how I feel or anything.
You're right.
And then prisoner of war means that you've been designated as this, and then maybe because we've never stopped fighting, have we stayed prisoners of war, prisoners in a wall-less jail. The Matrix.
They say that we live in, but see, when you think about a prisoner of war, you always see somebody who humbled themselves eventually. I show humility because you kick my ass, But see, when you say slave, then when you say slave, that means you enslaved or slave. That means you forced me to do things, but that don't mean that I accepted. I accepted it. You see?
Oh, so then it's a little bit backwards what he was saying, that to say that you were enslaved means that your autonomy has been taken, but you're not done.
Right.
Okay.
And you're not, and so that's why when they talk about acculturation. See, think about these terms. If we went through a process of acculturation, well, what culture did we get? Because American culture is Black culture. Mm-hmm. The music, the food, everything about America is Black culture. So how was we acculturated? No, they were acculturated.
Right, right.
See, but the whole point is because remember, you see, their background is mainly immigrant. They're immigrants to this country. We're indigenous. We're the Aboriginals. Yes, we may have been in a bad situation, and see, that's one of the reasons why I talk to Sandra sometime, and when I talk to Sandra, she's working on a PhD, and I'm her advisor, so to help her write it up. Anyway, to I don't know anyway, but anyway, it's this whole idea of trauma, and then you say, if we were so traumatic, how do we always do the great things? How is it that after we obtained our freedom through the 14th, 15th, and 16th Amendment, and then how we fought in the Civil War to free ourselves, why is it that we didn't carry the trauma and we were able, in a sense, to keep fighting? And see, this is something that people forget, is that we've always been fighters. And although they may flip the script, just like now they're trying to flip the script, and with DEI and all that type of ish. And then we just said it wasn't working for us. So the only ones that is hurting is white women and East Indians and Latinos,
right?
Because it didn't work for us.
That's true.
Maybe
it was never meant to work for us as much as it was just meant to umbrella term it so that other people could get access.
But it was meant for us. But what happened in
affirmative action for sure, because that's Dr. Anderson's work, right?
It was all meant for us. The Civil Rights Act was meant for us. But then it was meant for us. But then it's like this Irish guy used to be a friend of my father. He said, Nobi, they gonna always flip the script. See, every time we got something, they always found a way to flip it. You see?
Right.
Okay, yeah, we're gonna. You want to see African immigrants come over here? Oh yeah, okay, we'll bring them over, but we're gonna make sure we vet these niggas and make sure that they don't like your ass.
The ones we like, for sure. Yeah, that makes sense.
They're not gonna like you. And see, so see, the European, he always it's like I always like I like to do the example of the Aboriginal Negro. Okay, the Aboriginal Negro, he was a Cree. He lived outside the town. And so the white man would say, every year the white man would come and say, hey, Johnny Crow, Johnny Tupac or whatever. I know you belong to the Crow Nation, and I respect you. We not like you, paleface. I know you're not like me, paleface, but you know this is Cook County, and you know in Cook County we pay our taxes. Me pay my taxes too. He said, "That's right. We want you to pay your taxes." Now you know we didn't give your ass a job. I mean you know you're not working in the village, right? Me no working for no paleface. I know you don't, but you know you got to pay your taxes. So you got to pay the tax. The only way you can pay it, me pay my taxes. And so we want part of that land that belong to your village or that you've been growing your crops on. Okay, me pay my tax. Then before you know it, you ain't got no land. See, the European has always played us, and he's always played us because he let us believe we're smarter than we think we are. No, take what the hell. That's why my father and mother, I told my mom and dad, I said, y'all was teaching me to be a thief. I told them that when I was about 18. I was about to go to college. And they said, what do you mean we taught you to be a thief? I said, you taught me to be a thief because you taught me that the white man took shit from us and that I should take it back. We weren't trying to teach you to be a thief. But I said, that's what you were implying by saying they took this, they took that. Then you were telling me that I was supposed to take it back. You misinterpreted. No, I didn't misinterpret it. But see, this is what our people was teaching us. They were teaching us to fight these people. They were teaching us, in a sense, to try to jive these people. They were teaching us to be deceitful. And the point, that's why I tell you today, a white person cannot love you, and you cannot love them because they've been taught that you're a piece of so you can't, you know. But again, in a sense, so yes, we're saltines, we're salty. We're salty, we're irritated. We're irritated because of the fact that since we're tired of people always trying to take from us. And but they always do the rubber band. They'll pull a rubber band a little bit, then as soon as we get quiet, it'll contract. See? Mm-hmm. Then we have to fight and pull it again, and then we contract. But the beauty of it is that every time in a sense they contract, we don't go one step further, we go 2 steps further. And so the therefore, in a sense, is that we always, in a sense, find a way to win. Think about this. We're the only slaves in the history of the world. We're the only former enslaved people in the history of the world to now live better than many other people who call themselves white. You know, we went through slums, and now we live in nice homes, nice houses, nice apartments. See, what is that telling you? That's telling us something unique about you. You're a superwoman, Eve. FBA are supermen and women. Because even though critical race theories tell us that white people hate us, white people want to kill us, and white people created, in a sense, a race in which they're going to always win if they can. They haven't been able to kill us. And we somehow still try to, in a sense, get in the race, and sometimes we win. Power to the people, sister.
That's for sure. It's no wonder that everybody else is salty when we've got all the seasonings over here. I mean, I kind of get it. My man tells me all the time after I make a meal that's what they stole, y'all. And
they did.
It's like, well, I guess if we were bringing the flavor, then you would want to. But we're so loving. All you got to do is ask. You know, we'll teach you how to do it. That's how upright and.
But they didn't. But it's nothing we do. They came from Africa. It's nothing we do. They came from Africa.
They'll say, we have cow and they have cow, right? I think I saw.
No, we had pork. They had cow.
We had pork. They had cow.
Yeah.
Well, don't they have boars? I mean,
No.
Pumbaa is a boar.
No,
Isn't
they
Africa?
don't have pigs.
They don't have pigs.
No,
Huh.
they had cows. Remember?
Well, that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Like, even what they'll do is they'll say, well, we've got the same types of animals, so that's why you know that we're the
They
same.
like
I was trying to figure out where Eddie Murphy's McDonald's hamburger on the square bread existed in Africa.
it never existed.
It didn't.
They like stew. They like stew. We like fried food. They like
I'm
stew.
saying, right, we got hamburgers and Salisbury steak when you want to be
Right.
fancy. They've got soup
Stew
and stew
and
and
soup.
seafood.
Yeah, stew and stew. We don't like stew. We made stews, but we mainly like fried shit. That's what we mainly like fried stuff. We're gonna slip in even our bread. We're gonna
Fried bread. There you
that's
go.
right, fried bread, or we bake it and stuff.
Mhm.
You see, and so then that's why when they made this video, I saw this video and they said, "What did we get? We got nothing from Africa. It was nothing from Africa. The only thing we got from Africa was the word Africa. That's the only thing we got
Hey,
from Africa."
I would agree with that. And look, if that's the case, salty. If y'all keep referring to me as an African American, if everybody in America is not an African American, and if Jamaicans in Jamaica don't have to be African Jamaicans because we understand that there's Chinese Jamaicans, then why do I have to be an African American? You're not an African Haitian. You're not an African Jamaican. You're not an African Brazilian. Even though I know y'all want to say I'm Afro-Cuban. That's brand new. That's brand freaking new. So y'all can't act like that's always been there, because it hasn't.
It's always been Afro-Cuban. Always been there. Remember, in the 30s and the jazz and all that.
But that's still after us.
Yeah.
And that's all I really meant. So that's me on the timeline thing. I tried to mush it. I didn't mean to.
You're right. You're cool. But it's the delineation it's so beautiful now that we delineate. Now we're our own tribe. I like being FBA, and the thing is that because I feel that FBA is Pan-Africanist, because we're saying that we're foundational Black Americans, and I mean that way I don't have to argue with Black Hebrews no more.
Amen to that. The Christians, Muslims, and atheists of us all can agree that we are owed a goddamn check, and they can cut the check.
That's
and
right.
I can like the Redskins, and you can like the Bears.
That's right, and that's just the way it is, Reparations, baby, reparations. We deserve reparations. We deserve reparations like yesterday, not just today. No, not just today. We deserve our reparations. Give us our money, baby. Cut the check.
Cut the check, black first because it's brilliant. People talk too much. Say less, remain on cold, follow the spirit. When the going gets tough, it's time for resilience. Cut the check, black first because it's brilliant. People talk too much. Say less, remain on cold, follow the spirit. When the going gets tough, it's time for
Yes, I want my check.
I want that check too. They're gonna cut it. They're gonna cut it very soon because we're not
That's
giving.
they're gonna get us the vote. If the Democrats want to get back in there, they're gonna cut the check.
That's for sure. That's for sure. And Bob Wareham in the chat, we are not Native American. Those people are not native to this land, but they can have that term.
Yeah,
I'm fine with that.
See, the Native we know we're not Native American. Native Americans came from Mexico. They came from Mexico. They came up from Mexico. They saw us eating buffalo. They said, "Them black people eating buffalo. Me follow the buffalo." That's why when you really read the early explorers, they don't mention no red people, no red Indians. Cut the check, baby. They don't mention no red Indians because they weren't here. They weren't here when the white man got here.
Right.
See, the only problem with us is that we thought we was being slick, and we thought we was being slick and they just played us until they got all our damn land, and that was it, you know. But anyway, family, it's getting late. I want to thank all of you guys for coming. And again, yes, we're saltines. When you're salty, you're what? When you're salty, you're irritated. When you're salty, you're angry because you're being slighted. And that's how we feel. We feel that these people have been slighting us. We feel these people have been trying to make us feel inferior. We feel these people have been trying to hold us down and trying to, in a sense, make us feel that we were nothing, you see. But although they wanted to make us salty, yeah, I am salty. I'm irritated with your ass. Yes, sir. See. But I know this, is that they're going to cut the check and we're going to fight, you know.
Right.
What can I ask you a question? You don't have to answer this.
Okay.
What made you want to have this as the topic this week?
Honestly, it started as crackers, right? I wanted to talk about
the crackers,
right?
Okay.
But then it just kind of it's morphed because you gave me the thought about us being saltines. And then when you really think about it, shit, that's forgotten in the back of the cabinet until you need it. Because all Black Americans have a box of saltines, or you know that your grandma had a box of saltines in the back of the cabinet. And yeah, it's okay if it's stale, because I don't know if it makes the magic work better. I don't understand it.
Crush it up and put it in some hamburger.
Right. Well, yeah, now you got your breading. Yes, crackers go with cheese. And well, that's why you got the coon smile with a bunch of crackers, because that's that. But you've given me an additional thought about it, and I would say that we have a right to be salty. We've been around all these crackers. And then from there, well, shit, we got some crackers in charge right now that they don't mind cracking the whip in a decent way. I still can't believe that people are trying to compare now to enslavement times when these people that are getting humanely treated have on Jordans, have phones, that 3-year-olds are crossing the border with no adults. I just on some, we wanted a better shot.
Thousands of kids have been sacrificed. You know, they say they lost. Now they got them babies and they sacrifice them because that's what white folks do. See, that's one of the reasons why. That's what they used to do to us every holiday. They used to find a brother and burn them on a stake or something. These poor Latino brown children, they were made available for these white folks to sacrifice them, because these people feel if you go through human sacrifice, that you're going to get good benefits. You know. Mm-hmm. You know, we used to do that, and they used to do that in the Sudan. I don't think we ever used to. I don't think Aboriginal people here used to sacrifice people. But again, you know, that's a European thing and that's an African thing, you know. But we're not Africans. But anyway, you guys, did you want to close today?
I think that Bob, I like what you said about Trump cutting the cheese. And no, it's not going to be welfare. I mean, they might do that $5,000 to all of us who've paid taxes, and you know, it went to 50 million dildos in Mozambique and HIV prevention in Germany.
I don't care.
But I think we've been real specific this time about who they need to cut the check to, for what, and when it needs to happen. And I think Trump's going for a third presidency because he's going to cut the check. And then all the niggas are going to be like, yes,
they're going to have to change the Constitution.
What do you want to do? Keep being the president.
They're going to have to change the Constitution. They can do that, though.
They're going to have to change the Constitution to do any of those number of things you listed earlier today.
But I'm going to tell you something, Eve. That government cheese was the best cheese back in. It was good. It was good. It would melt in your mouth. My auntie said, "Why?" My mother-in-law said, "Why are you going to get that government cheese? You're a teacher." I said, I'm going up to that church to get me some of that government cheese. And man, they used to make the savory. Who would used to make cheese sandwiches? Oh, that government cheese. I don't know. Whatever cave they kept that cheese in back in the day. We ate it all up in the 80s and 90s. because they used to give it out at the churches. If they got any more government cheese, I'll get in line today. Get in line for that government cheese. That was some good ass cheese. I'll start talking like, well, I need help. Let me get help. Let's get that. Yeah, I love I'm one of them. I'm one of them niggas. Yeah, I'm one of them niggas. Give me that cheese there. Yeah. I'll stop.
That is funny. That's crazy. They I don't want to segue, but the cheese, you know, people thought that getting shredded cheese was the fancy and you show that you've got some class, you got some shredded cheese. And then we all found out that the shredded cheese is coated in some kind of weird silica and it doesn't melt the same. So if you really want your macaroni and cheese to be right, you would need to use a block of cheese. And, you know, you want your cheese to melt and stretch. It's got to be a block. And then a lot of us said, we don't want the block anymore because we're not on government cheese anymore. And we got our brie.
But, you know, the thing that I just found out recently, Eve, is how the pharmaceuticals have always been using petroleum with the medicine. I only just found that out. You know, I never thought about the fact that those pills, the plastic pill, well, so-called plastic pills, were made from petroleum. But again, I don't know. I'm dumb. There's so many things I'm learning every day. But again, I'm sorry, Eve, we went over time. Did you want to close it? You know?
No, that's okay, you guys. You know, make sure you be as gay as you want to be. Make sure you cheese and make somebody uncomfortable because we're not struggling like they want us to be struggling. Nope. And I think that makes my teeth extra white. So.
Wonderful. You heard that from me, that beautiful smile, those beautiful teeth. And that's what those Europeans hate because their teeth are usually yellow.
Yellow, crooked, missing. Methed out, whichever you want to go. But, you know, thank y'all for joining us for another reality check, and I hope you join us next week because we will be checking reality at that time.
Take care. The only thing that can save you is be one. To fight Cage, you must stay.